بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin nabiyina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to Youth Hour. আপনারা সবাইকে স্বাগত জানাচ্ছি। আজকে আমাদের টপিকটা হলো health and youth is very important. I want everyone who is watching us, please come to this living room and see this because it's very important. We're going to talk about mental health, and we have a lot of expertise around us. Inshallah, they will help us to find out the causes and there's some solution, inshallah. So in our panel, I'm going to introduce them first. We're going to mix it up Bangla and English, inshallah. So first round is going to be Bangla and English, and next from then on after the break, inshallah, it's going to be all in English, inshallah. So brothers and sisters, we have Mufti Janal Ahmad. Welcome to our show, Janal Ahmad.
Thank you for inviting me.
MashaAllah. Thank you for making time for us. And then we have everyone, Shobat Jana Apnade Porichito, Maulana Faiz Ahmad Shah, Mufti Shah, again. Welcome to our show.
Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah. Jazakumullahu khairan. Then on our left we have Suzanne Akram. She is the Executive Director of SMEF. How are you?
Thank you, I'm well. Thank you for inviting me.
Brilliant. I'm glad you guys made it as well. You know, it's difficult to make time, especially when it comes to 6 o'clock, especially after work and rushing and everything else.
Well, this is a very important topic for all of us. The well-being of all our communities depend on good mental health.
Brilliant. If you could tell me about your organization as well, so how you deal with stuff like that.
My organization is called Surrey Minority Ethnic Forum, and as the name says, it's based in Surrey. We are a registered charity and we work with diverse ethnic groups, beginning from, if you take it from A, Albanian, to Z, Zimbabwean. We have different communities that are members of our forum. Pakistani, Indian, Bangladeshi, Nepalis, African, Chinese, you name it, and they're all part of the forum. The forum talks about issues that affect ethnic minority communities in particular. So mental health is one of the important topics. Mental health affects most people. Like physical health, we need to be quite conscious about how well we are doing and how well our children are doing, and so it's something that's close to all our hearts.
Fantastic. I'm going to come to you afterward. If I could go to Maulana first. আপনি তো মাশাআল্লাহ এগুলার সাথে আর জড়িত, আপনি খবর রাখেন, আপনি একজন ইমাম yourself, আপনি তো এগুলা I'm sure people come to you and এগুলো আপনি ফেস করেন আসলে। সো আপনি মেন্টাল হেলথ বলতে আমরা কি বুঝি, একটু আমাদের দর্শকদেরকে বলেন যে মেন্টাল হেলথ বলতে কি বুঝি আমরা।
ধন্যবাদ, জাযাকাল্লাহু খায়ের। আসলে মানসিক এটা যে একটা রোগ, এটা অনেক ক্ষেত্রে আমরা দেখেছি অন্যান্য রোগের মতো আমরা এটাকে রোগ হিসাবে ধরি না। এটা কেউ যদি মানসিক রোগী থাকেন তিনিও এটা প্রকাশ করতে লজ্জাবোধ করেন, তার আশেপাশে যারা থাকেন, গার্জিয়ান, প্যারেন্টস যারা থাকেন, তারাও লজ্জাবোধ করেন যে মানসিক রোগীর নিজেকে পরিচয় দেওয়া, মানসিক রোগীর বাবা, তার সন্তান মানসিক রোগী, এটা পরিচয় দিতেও তিনি লজ্জাবোধ করেন, যার কারণে এই রোগটা আরও বেড়ে যায়। তো মানসিক এটা রোগ অন্যান্য রোগের মতো একটা রোগ আমরা মনে করতে পারি। যেভাবে ডায়াবেটিস একটা রোগ হতে পারে, যেভাবে প্রেশার একটা রোগ, ব্লাড প্রেশার, তারপরে হার্ট অ্যাটাক, যারা বিভিন্ন ধরনের রোগ রয়েছে, এটার মতো মানসিক রোগটাও একটা রোগ। এটার জন্য যেভাবে অন্যান্য রোগের জন্য যেভাবে চিকিৎসা সেবা নেওয়া দরকার, এটার জন্য চিকিৎসা সেবা নেওয়া দরকার। আর কোরআনে কারিমে আল্লাহ পাক মানসিক রোগীদের জন্য অনেক কথা বলেছেন, অনেক ইসলামের অনেক সাপোর্ট রয়েছে। নবীজি সাল্লাল্লাহু আলাইহি ওয়াসাল্লাম মানসিক রোগীদের সম্পর্কে অনেক কথা বলেছেন, যেখানে ইসলাম আল্লাহ রাব্বুল আলামিন মানসিক রোগীদের জন্য আলাদা একটা ছাড় দিয়েছেন, আলাদা সম্মান দেখিয়েছেন, নবীজি সাল্লাল্লাহু আলাইহি ওয়াসাল্লাম দেখিয়েছেন। সেখানে আমাদের সমাজে মানসিক রোগীদের ব্যাপারে অনেক ক্ষেত্রে আমরা দেখেছি যারা রোগী হন তাদের ফ্যামিলিও তারা হীনমন্যতায় ভুগেন, লজ্জাবোধ করেন। পারিপার্শ্বিক অবস্থাও প্রতিবেশী যারা আছেন, নিকটের মানুষেরা, তারাও মানসিক রোগীদেরকে অন্য নজরে দেখেন, পাগল, নিকৃষ্টভাবে তাদেরকে চিহ্নিত করেন। এটা কিন্তু রোগীদের রোগ বেড়ে যাওয়ার ক্ষেত্রে আরও 50% কারণ হয়ে দাঁড়ায়।
অবশ্যই আপনার যে কিতা সিমটম লাগে যে শুরু যে সময় হয় মানে কিতা কিতা সিমটমগুলো ধরা পড়ে?
আমরা দেখি যে অনেক কারণে হতে পারে। একজন মানুষ হয়তো ছোটো বাচ্চা ঈদের সময় সে চেয়েছিল একটা ভালো কাপড়, হয়তো বাবা দিতে পারেন নাই, এটার কারণে সে একটা আপসেট হয়ে যেতে পারে। আপসেট হয়ে সে এক ধরনের তার প্রতি হয়তো বন্ধু একজন তার ভালো কাপড় পরেছে, সে চাইছিল তার বন্ধুর মতো একটা কাপড় হবে, এক্ষেত্রে বাচ্চাটা হয়তো আপসেট হয়ে গেছে, তো বাবা তাকে ডাকলেন, বেশি রাগারাগি হল্লা, এমনভাবে তারে কুদাইলা, হে তার বন্ধু বান্ধবের কাছে সে লজ্জিত হয়ে গেল, তার মেন্টালিটিটা বাবাই বুঝতে অনুভব হল্লা না, মায় বুঝলা না, ওটার কারণে সে এক ধরনের ডিপ্রেশনও দিতে কি পারে। তখন হে একটা তার মেন্টালি ও গুম হারাম হয়ে যেতে পারে, হে ও গুমা হইতে পারে, ওটা চিন্তা করবো আমি খালকু গিয়ে আমার বন্ধুর কাছে মুখ দেখাইতাম কি লাগান, হে তো বালা কাপড় ফিনতে আইব। তো বাচ্চারই অবস্থাটা তাই বুঝার চেষ্টা করতা, প্যারেন্টসে বুঝবার চেষ্টা করতা যে আমার বাচ্চাটা খেনে আপসেট, গুমান না খেনে, যে তার লগে মাথাটা আপনার মাথার কারণে হয়তো বাচ্চা এই ধরনের মেন্টালি দিতে পারে। এইভাবে আমি দেখছি যে অনেক বাচ্চা এনেকল তারা কোনো কারণবশত, আমি অনেক আমার স্টুডেন্ট সকলের মধ্যেও দেখছি যে একটু আগে আমরা কিছু ডিসকাস করছি যে বাচ্চা আত খাটা আরম্ভ করে, বাচ্চায় প্যারাসিটামল একলগে 10 টাকা,
এটা কিন্তু আমাদের সমাজেও হয়, বেশি
হয়, দেখেছি আমাদের সমাজেও দেখেছি। আমি অনেকেই যারা আমাকে ভালোবাসেন, আমার ভিউয়ার্সদের মধ্য থেকে, আমার যাদের মুতাল্লিকিন যারা সম্পর্ক রাখেন, তারা অনেকেই বলেন তাদের বাচ্চারা অনেকেই এই ধরনের করে থাকেন। তো অনেক বাচ্চারা দেখা যায় যে একসাথে মায়ের সাথে গুসা করে 10-15টা প্যারাসিটামল খেয়ে ফেলে।
আরে আল্লাহর রহম বরকা।
এটা কেন হয়? তো এই কারণটা হয় যে বাচ্চাকে ইগনোর করার কারণে। বাচ্চার কি এক একজন মানুষের এক এক ধরনের হতে পারে, হয়তো বাবা মা যারা তাদের প্রিন্সিপাল এক ধরনের, বাচ্চা হয়তো এ ধরনের এখনও গড়ে উঠে নাই, তো বাচ্চার উপরে এমনভাবে কড়াকড়ি শুরু করে দিলেন, আপসেট হয়ে বাচ্চা যে কোনো ধরনের করতে ফেলতে পারে।
আপনার কাছে আমি আবার আসবো, আপনি ধরে রাখেন, আমি চলে যাই আপনাদের শ্রদ্ধেয় Janal Ahmad. Welcome to us, Janal Ahmad. Listen, I want to ask you guys, as a young person, actually, you are grown up in UK and you also studied here. Do you see there are a lot of young people are affected in that line? Like they go into depression, they are losing weight, they are losing these kind of issues?
Yeah, I mean, of course, as human beings, we all go through times of happiness and times of sadness. And that's our human nature. But it's when our emotions get to that level where it's affecting us physically. So when we become so sad that we become depressed, we lack motivation, we don't want to get out of bed. And when we see those kind of symptoms, then of course we know that this is not the kind of regular behavior that we normally have. And of course, sometimes the causes of that can be many. It can be the idea of
how do we define is a lazy person or he's affected? How do we it's difficult to define, isn't it? Someone can be really lazy person. I don't want to get up. We all do that. Sunday.
I mean, I think a lazy person is I would probably say that a lazy person is someone who probably doesn't want to get out of bed because he just can't be bothered to.
Okay.
And I think someone that is sort of suffering from depression, they might have a certain event or an incident that's taken place in their life which they have thought about so much that they lack motivation in terms of I feel so empty, I'm worthless, I don't have any value, that no one values me. So someone that's being lazy, they still might feel valued, but they just really can't be bothered to get up. But someone that's depressed is someone who feels absolutely worthless. And of course there's one kind of our well-being that we think about something that's already happened in the past, but then there might be also that kind of that emotional state where we worry about the future. And for young people, especially now, where it's quite difficult to live in the 21st century, especially when they have to think about getting their grades. So they've got GCSE, A-levels, university, test after test after test, that can make people quite anxious. And then
we had that all the time. Exams always there.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the pressures are different, because now everyone, everyone's getting, and I mean, it's always been there, but the depression has always been there as well. So it's not like it would never existed before, but it's actually trying to acknowledge that it does exist now. That's what we're trying to sort of work towards. And of course, it sort of carries on trying to get the best job. So of course, I've met people who have, they've got first-class degrees, they're working for a very good company, but then they suddenly have a panic attack. And you would normally think that this person has always been getting the highest grade, he's got a well-paid job, so why has he had a panic attack suddenly? and then he's gone to the doctors, he's gone to get professional help, and they've told him, you know what, you've been suffering for so many years. So sometimes the people that we think might suffer are not, there's no sort of stereotypical version of a person who might suffer from these emotion, sort of, you know, having a negative effect on the emotional well-being. So it's very hard to decide, but I think there are a lot of pressures, and it's, I mean, it's healthy for a human being to stretch themselves. So in terms of revising, in terms of learning, this is what we should do, and Islamically we're told to do that as well. But it's when that stretching becomes so much, we worry about it, that it's affecting us and we no longer can actually act in society. That's
so
when it becomes
if I could ask a personal question.
Yeah.
You are a Hafiz.
Yeah.
You studied, you actually memorized the whole Quran. So that, I mean,
Yeah.
your study level was really, really in the morning and afternoon, and then
Yeah.
did it affected you?
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, personally it didn't.
Okay.
Because, of course, I personally was quite determined to sort of finish, and a lot of my studying came out from my own accord, and I got a lot of support from my family as well as from my teachers around me. So I think it really depends on the individual person, and we can't really put on a general kind of rule of what affects people. It has to be really that certain person itself.
Okay, I will come to you. I'm going to go to Susan. Susan, if I come to you, you are working in that field. You meet lots of young people, or probably the parents as well.
Yeah.
What's the first thing you look for?
Well, my work is indirectly with young people. I work more with parents.
Okay.
So parents with young children, and the anxiety, the well-being of your child is something that is very personal to everyone. And if you have a child who is experiencing distress, it can really affect you. And it's difficult to figure out whether you're just being anxious or if there is a real problem. But we know what I do, what my work involves is community development. So we know that mental health is a problem across all communities. It doesn't necessarily affect one particular community more than the other.
Yeah.
So our work is to inform people of what these conditions are, signpost them where they can go for help.
But do you think we are open, like as a minority? Do you think we're open like everybody else?
We all know that.
Or you think we're learning?
I think that we all accept that among minority ethnic communities there's a great deal of stigma around mental health. And it's that stigma that stops us from accessing help. So we know that this is a cultural thing, and because of this cultural taboo that we have, no one wants to be open about the fact that they are ill. If we had a physical problem, people don't have any issue with sharing that physical problem. But mental health, unfortunately, is something that there's always been a taboo around. But we're getting there, we're breaking it. This program is about opening these issues to everyone. It doesn't just happen to a particular class of people or particular religion. It happens across the board. You don't have to be rich or poor. It happens to everyone. And it is our duty as human beings to look after each other and to recognize that these problems exist.
Do you feel men has more, the women has more?
That's a very difficult one. I think that...
I mean, I'm sure men will, especially we don't want to, I'm sure I would say, I'm all right. Maybe I'm not, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, everyone goes through this kind of emotional time, and they go through this.
I think it's possibly quite difficult for men because traditionally they are not, they don't see themselves as emotional beings, and so they don't feel comfortable about expressing their emotion, to show, don't feel comfortable about showing weakness.
Like the macho image, I'm the man.
Yes, exactly. So there are those issues, but then it's not right, I think, to stereotype, to say that it's more a gender thing. I think it happens to everyone, and it happens to men as well as women. Men have pressures too, and so do women. I mean, this is an age of, you know, we have economic pressures on us, social pressures on us, and we all, of course, want to do the best for our families.
Thank you for sharing this. Fantastic. If I could come to Mufti Sahib again. আপনি যদি বলেন আমাদেরকে যে কোনো সংখ্যা আসেনি জানা যে আপনার কতটুক মানুষ পৃথিবীর মধ্যে আপনার এফেক্টেড, অথবা আমরা যে দেশ থেকে আইছি বাংলাদেশি ব্যাকগ্রাউন্ড, আমাদের মধ্যে কোনো নম্বর আছেন জানার মতো আপনার?
আসলে রিয়েলি হিসাবটা করা তো বড় মুশকিল। আমরা যদি আমরা ফ্যামিলির দিকে তাকাই, প্রত্যেক ফ্যামিলির দেখবা যেমন কোনো বাচ্চা, এভরি পার্সনের এক এক ধরনের ব্রেইন আছে। তো আমরা দেখি আমরা সমাজের মধ্যে একটা সমস্যা আছে, মুফতি সাহেবের তাই কিছুটা এটা টাচ করছেন, যে বাচ্চার এবিলিটি, তার পাওয়ার আছে, ক্যাপাসিটি আছে সে সেকেন্ড ডিভিশনে পাস করার। মা বাপে প্রেশার করেন, তোমার লাগাগরের ফুয়ায় ফার্স্ট ডিভিশনে পাস করিল, ও ঘরের বেটায় দেখলাইনি অমুকের ফুয়ায় হতা করিল। তো বাচ্চা একটা লজ্জাবোধ করে, কিন্তু স্কুলে কিন্তু তারা তার ক্যাটাগরি অনুযায়ী তার করা হয়, হ্যাঁ বেস্ট করের তারা স্কুল থেকে রিপোর্ট করা হয়। কিন্তু আপনার মা বাপে কিতা করেন, মা বাপে মনে করেন হে যেন বি ফাইল, এটা তার লাগে সময় গেছে, হে এখানে ফাইল না। ওই যে তার একটা প্রেশার পড়ে, সে তখন এটা
মানে এই প্রেশারটা একতরফা হয়ে যায়। You have to tell him to do well, but in the same time also you have to, can he do it? ওই যে মিল রাখতে হইব, আপনার যে ব্যালেন্স রাখতে হইব। একবার আপনার সবসময়
হিসাব করলে আমরা বেহিসাব, আমার কাছে লাগে বেহিসাব করলে। কিন্তু মেন্টালি যারা মেডিকেলও গিয়া ট্রিটমেন্ট লয়রা, এটা আপনারা জানেন ওয়ার্ল্ডের মধ্যে 10 অক্টোবর হইল বিশ্ব মেন্টালি স্বাস্থ্য দিবস। তো আস্থা দুনিয়া জুড়েও এটা একটা ফিকির করেন, একটা চিন্তা করেন যে মানসিক রোগী হল সম্বন্ধে। কিন্তু আমরা প্যারেন্টস হল দেখি এটার ব্যাপারে সচেতন নাই। তো তারার একটা রিসার্চ, তারার একটা গবেষণা অনুযায়ী সমস্ত বিশ্বের মধ্যে নিয়ারলি 30 মিলিয়ন পিপল এফেক্টেড আর বাংলাদেশও ঢাকার পিজি হসপিটালের একটা থাকি প্রায় আজকে 2-3 বছর আগর তার হিসাব আর কি প্রায় 16 লক্ষ মানুষ বা ইয়াঙ্গ হল তারা মেন্টালি তারা সাফার করে, 16 লাখ মানুষ। তারপরে তো গ্রামগঞ্জের অনেকের হিসাব নাই। এই হিসাবে আমার মনে হয় এভরি ফ্যামিলি তো 2-4 ফ্যামিলি বাদেও কিছু না কিছুভাবে আমরা পারিপার্শ্বিক শিক্ষা না থাকার, সচেতনতা না থাকার কারণে, মেন্টালি সচেতনতা না থাকার কারণে অনেক মানুষ আমরা তো কাইলে পাইব। এই ক্ষেত্রে যে সমস্ত চ্যারিটিও হলতে, যেমন আজকে যে চ্যারিটির তারা আইসেন, আমিও মদিনাতুল খাইর আল ইসলামী, আমাদের আল-খাইর ফাউন্ডেশন, এ সমস্ত চ্যারিটি প্রতিষ্ঠানের স্পেসিফিকলি একটা সাবজেক্ট থাকা দরকার, মেন্টালি হেলথ একটা সাবজেক্ট থাকা দরকার। এটার কারণে দেখবা যে অনেক বাচ্চাই হল তার হারানো শক্তি ফিরে আবার, অনেক ইয়াঙ্গ হল যেটা হুকলেস হয়ে গেছে, তে আবার ফিরিয়া তার বলে না তুমি একলা নাই, তোমার সাথে আমরা আছি, এটা তোমার একটা শর্মের চিন্তা নাই। বেমার যদি ফেটোবিষ করলে ঔষধ হইলে যদি ফেটোবিষ কমে, মাথা বিষ করলে ঔষধ হইলে যদি মাথা বিষ কমে যায়, যে কোনো বেমার হইলে ঔষধ খাইলে বেমার কমে যায়, তো তোমার এটাও কমে যাব, আমরা তোমার হেল্প করবো। তাই দেখবা এটার এটা সংখ্যাটা কমে আইব।
আচ্ছা, এটা কিন্তু আমরা মানে ইউজ করা যায় না, যেমন আপনার মুফতি সাহেব তাই নিজেও হই না, তাই খুতবা এগুলো তাই মাথুন আপনার, আমরা কিন্তু এটা অন্যখানে করা যায় না, যাতে এটা একটা সামাজিক বেমার, এইটা ছোটো আকারে রয়েছে এখনও। যদি আমরা আগ থেকে ধরতাম পারি তাই আপনার মানে এত ডিপ যাইতো না আর কি। আপনার যদি আমরা খবরও না লই আর কি, আপনার লাগামসা রয়ে যায়, তো বাদে তো আপনার জীবন লইয়া টান ফুরবো আপনার।
এই বেমারটারে আমি কয়েকটা ভাগে ভাগ করতাম।
প্লিজ কইবেন প্লিজ।
একটা ভাগ হইল যেটা আমরা আলোচনা করলাম, এটা হয়তো বন্ধু বান্ধবের পারিপার্শ্বিক চাপ হওয়ার কারণে তার ডিপ্রেস হয়ে গেছে। আর আরেকটা মানুষের সৃষ্টি করা, যেমন আমরা সচেতন না তাহলে আমার বাচ্চা হয়তো ড্রাগ কেইলার, আমরা সচেতন না আমার বাচ্চা নিশা জাতীয় কোনটা লোর, আমরা না তার বাদ বন্ধুর লগে চলিয়া এই ধরনের রুইজার। তো এই 2 ধরনের আমার আরও আছে কারণ হল, এই 2 ধরনের কারণ হল আছে। পয়লা নম্বর কারণ যেটা, একটা আমরা যদি বাচ্চারে একটু সঙ্গ দেই তার হেদে সার, এটা অত্যন্ত দ্রুততার সাথে এটা আমরা দূর করতে পারি, সাথে তো ডাক্তারের পরামর্শ নিতেই হবে। 2 নম্বর কারণ যেটা, এই কারণে ডাক্তারেরও পরামর্শ নেওয়া লাগবো, মা বাপেরও হেল্প লাগবো, এটাও তার একটা সমস্যা। এটা একটা সমস্যা, মানসিক ডাক্তার হলতে টান এই ব্যাপারে তারা কাউন্সিলিং করেন। এই কাউন্সিলিংটা যদি ফ্যামিলির থেকে হয়, অত্যন্ত দ্রুততার সাথে এটা দূর হয়ে যায়। আর এটা দূরীকরণের ক্ষেত্রে যে জিনিসগুলো আমি মনে করি, এর মধ্যে থেকে পয়লা নম্বর জিনিস হইল এটারে লজ্জাবোধ না করিয়া এটার একটা রোগ মনে করা। আমরা যেটা মনে করি যে আমরা এটা দূর হয় না, এর পিছনে কারণ হলো এটার লজ্জাবোধ করি। এটার লজ্জাবোধ না করিয়া এটার রোগ মনে করা যদি হয়, মেডিকেল ইলনেস মনে করা হয়, তাহলে এটা সমাধানের একটা পথ বাড়াইব। 2 নম্বর হইল এই রোগের লাগে নিজের অপরাধী মনে না করা। এটা একটা কারণ যে আমি মনে করি অপরাধী, আমার মাথা বালা নাই, আমি তো অপরাধী। এটারে অপরাধী মনে করলে যেভাবে অন্যান্য রোগটার লাগি তাই অপরাধী নাই, এটা একটা বেমার, ঠিক তেমনিভাবে এটাও একটা বেমার, এটারে অপরাধী মনে না করা। প্যারেন্টসেও তারা এটার লাগি তান তসনি যেটারে হয় আর কি গালাগালি না করা, যেভাবে অন্যান্য রোগের বাড়া,
ব্যক্তিগত কন্ট্রোলের বাড়া,
জি এগুলা যদি আমরা সচেতন হই। আর লক্ষণগুলারে চিহ্নিত করা, এই রোগের যে লক্ষণগুলো আছে, যে পয়লা কিতাব থেকে আরম্ভ হয়, কেউ আছে খালি খানবা, বাচ্চাটা খান দেখে নেয়, এখানের দিকে তাকানো হয় না। প্যারেন্টসের মধ্যে বাপে খালি খান দেন, মায়ে খালি খান দেন, খাম করেন খালি খান দেন, কেউ মনে করেন এই আল্লাহর অলি বনি গেছেন খালি খান দেন, এই মনে হয় খালি আল্লাহর সান্নিধ্য পাইলেছেন লাগে খান দেন। যে এইটার কারণে একটা হয়তো ভিতরে একটা দুঃখ খাম করে, এইদিকে আমরা তাকাই না। তো এটা একটা মেন্টালি কারণ, যে এইটার মধ্যে একটা কারণ, এই খান্দাটার কারণ তোকে এবার করতে হইব। এই সমস্ত রোগী হলতে লাগি দৈনন্দিন একটা রুটিন তৈরি করতে হইব, আস্থা দিনের একটা রুটিন করতে হইব। রুটিন যারা গার্জিয়ান প্যারেন্টস তারা একটা রুটিন করে দিলে এই রুটিন অনুযায়ী এই রোগী হলতে যদি পরিচালনা করা হয় তাহলে এই রোগ থেকে বাড়াই যাওয়া সম্ভব পড়ব। 1 নম্বর যে জিনিসটা আমি কইতাম চাই, রোগীর সাথে সাথে তো ডাক্তারের পরামর্শ নিতে হইব। ডাক্তারে যে ঔষধ দেওয়া হয়, যে এই রোগে আক্রান্ত হে তারা কিন্তু রোগী মনে করে না, যেহেতু রোগী মনে করে না সে ঔষধটা বিনা ফেলাই দেয়। ঔষধটা সেবন করেননি, এইদিকে গার্জেনের নজর রাখতে হইবা। এতো তারা রোগী মনে করেন না, হ্যাঁ মনে করেন আমার মায়ে আমারে পাগল বানাই দিয়েছেন, আমার বাপে আমারে পাগল হয়রা, ডাক্তারের কিতাব বুঝে আমারে খালি হয় পাগলের ঔষধ দেয়। তে ঔষধটা যেন বিনো না ফেলায়, কুমটো না ফেলায়, ফ্লাশ করে না দিলায়, এইদিকে গার্জেনের খুব নজর রাখতে হইবা। 6 নম্বর জিনিস হইল রোগীকে বুঝতে দিতে হবে তিনি একা নন। বাচ্চারে বুঝাইতে হইব বাবা তুমি একলা নাই, আমরা তোমার লগে আছি, তুমি তো হুকলেছ ওখানে, আমরা তোমার সাথে আছি। তো এই জিনিস যদি দেখাইল হয় তাহলে এই বাচ্চায় একাকত্ব। আমি এক বাচ্চারে চিনি 2-3 বার গেছে কি ট্রেন স্টেশন মরবার লাগে, ও দেশে 2বার আমারে তারা ফোন কইরা রাত্রে 3টার সময় নিছেন।
বয়স কত?
টিনেজার, কলেজে পড়ে বাচ্চার। আমারে তারা রাত্রে নিছেন ফোন কইরা যে প্যারাসিটামল খাই লিছে কতটা, তে যাওয়ার লাগে আমি গিয়ে ইসলামিক লাইনে বুঝাইতাম। 6 নম্বর যেটা, প্রকাশ্যে উদ্বেগ উৎকণ্ঠা প্রকাশ না করা। আমার বাচ্চাটা, আমার বাচ্চা তো এগুলো কিতা হইতো ভবিষ্যৎ দেহ, ইয়াল্লা গীতা দেন করে, এগুলো তো ফিউচার নাই, পড়ালেখা করেন না, এগুলো ভবিষ্যতে তো পাগল হয়ে যাব, পাগলের বাপ আমি কোয়ান লাগবো, তুই তো কোনো কাম কাজও হইতে নাই যে পাগলামি করে। এই যে প্রকাশ্যে তার লাগে টান তাসনি করা, প্রকাশ্যে তাকে তার সমালোচনা করা, এটার কারণে সে আরও মেন্টালি ডিপ্রেস হবে। 8 নম্বর যেটা, নির্ধারিত লক্ষ্য অর্জন করতে পারলে প্রশংসা করা, তুমি তো আজকে যে বালা, হ্যাঁ আজকে তোমার ঘুম হয়েছে তো মাশাআল্লাহ, আজকে নাস্তা তুমি খালকুতেই বালা করছো, হ্যাঁ আজকে তোমার আওয়াজটা বড় সুন্দর লাগে, দেখা যায় চেহারাটা বড় সুন্দর লাগে তোমার। এই যে তার প্রশংসাটা করলে তার মেন্টালি তার সাপোর্ট হয়ে যাব। এর বাদের জিনিসটা 9 নম্বর মনে রাখতে হবে, এদের যত্ন নেওয়া মানসিকভাবে, শারীরিকভাবে, কাপড় চোপড় ইত্যাদি ক্ষেত্রে করতে গেলে যে ক্লান্তি হয়, যেমন মা বাপের একটা ক্লান্তি আইব, তার সময় দোয়ান লাগে আখতা আইয়া তাই হুপলেস হইলা, যা তোর লাগি আর পারলাম না, তোর লাগি করতে করতে আমার জানা খাম শেষ, আর কত করতাম, আস্তাটা দিন না ঘুমাইতাম পারলাম তোর লাগি, না খের লগে কোনো একটা ফোন করতাম পারলাম। এই যে তারে অতটা করার বাদে আপনি 1 লাত্তি মেয়েরা মানুষের যখন 1-2 দুধ দিয়া লাত মেরে ফেলাই দেওয়া, সারাদিন করলাই বাচ্চার লাগি, এসে দিকে এমনভাবে ইকান কইলায় আর তোমারে আর কোনটা করতে চাইলেও হইব, তাই না আমার বাদে কুটা দিবা, তাই বাদে তো আমার কুটা দিবা, তার টানের কোনো সাপোর্ট আমি নিতাম নাই। 10 নম্বর হইল, যদি বাসাত ইগুলা করিয়া মা বাপে ফাররা না, তাই হুপলেস হয়ে গেছেন, তাই হুপলেস বুঝাইতা না বাচ্চারে, তাই লগে লগে ডাক্তারের শরণাপন্ন হয়ে দিতা, তাই যারা আরও ঊর্ধ্বতন যারা সাপোর্ট করেনওয়ালা হেরা শরণাপন্ন হয়ে দিতা, তান আর ফাররা না দেখরা যে তাই তানোর গুসা বা এগুলা তানোর প্রকাশ হয়ে যাব, তাই এখানেও প্রকাশ না হইরা ডাক্তারের কাছে প্রকাশ করতা। এইভাবে যদি অগ্রসর হওয়া হয় তা আমার মনে হয় কাউন্সিলিংয়ের মাধ্যমে আমরা এই পার্সেন্টেজটা অনেকাংশে আমরা কমাইয়া আনতে পারতাম।
মাশাআল্লাহ, জাযাকুমুল্লাহু খাইর। মাওলানা সাহেব, আমি তো খুবই চমৎকার আপনার যে লিস্টটা আপনি বলছেন, ফ্যান্টাস্টিক, ইটস গোনা হেল্প লট অফ পিপল অ্যাকচুয়ালি। ডিয়ার ব্রাদার্স এন্ড সিস্টার্স, মাওলানা সাহেব চলে যাবেন আসলে এই আমাদের একটু পরেই। আপনারা যদি চান ফোন করে আলাপ করতে পারেন ওনার সাথে, আপনাদের কোনো যদি সমস্যাগুলো থাকে উনি ডাইরেক্টলি আপনাদেরকে আসলে পরামর্শ দিবেন, অ্যাডভাইস দিবেন ইনশাআল্লাহ। ইফ আই কুড কাম টু ইউ মুফতি সাহেব অলসো, the list he made, mashallah, the symptoms is brilliant and fantastic actually. Would you like to add anything to it?
I mean, I think the list that Maulana Sahib gave, it was very good in terms of after we know that someone is actually suffering from depression. I think the main issue which I have found in my own experience is the fact that do we acknowledge that we've got that someone's suffering from mental health illness. And I think one of the sentiments that I have found, and maybe it's because people are given the wrong advice, is the fact that, you know, sometimes people relate their mental health state with their faith. So some people, I don't know, it might be a misconception, or they might have been told that the very fact that they're suffering from a mental health state illness, whether it's depression or anxiety, is actually because of a lack of faith, which is really not the case. Because you'll see that in terms of Islamically, we do sort of believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says in the Quran that وَمَا أَصَابَكُم مِّن مُّصِيبَةٍ فَبِمَا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِيكُمْ وَيَعْفُو عَن كَثِيرٍ, that any kind of affliction that you receive is because of what you've done. However, وَيَعْفُو عَن كَثِيرٍ, but there are a lot of things which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he overlooks. So sometimes there are certain things we might do. If we eat unhealthily, then it is going to affect our body. That's been done with our own hands. However, Allah is also saying, He lets go of a lot of things. So sometimes we might suffer from a mental health illness, which we really can't say it's because of lack of iman. And if someone comes and says that, you know what, it's because you have a lack of iman, or your iman is low, your faith is low, therefore you are suffering from this illness. Or sometimes I was once with a patient who said that she doesn't sort of cover, and she said her family said that you've got cancer because Allah's punishing you, right? Now that's quite, I mean, I'm not sure how they're tapping it into the knowledge of the unseen. But I mean, we've studied the Quran, so we haven't been able to do that. So it's the same way when a person says that it's a lack of faith, we really don't know why. It might be not. But as human beings, from a bystander, we can't actually definitively say that this person is suffering from a mental health depression or anxiety because that person has a lack of faith. So I think that's the main issue, which I found why it's still a social stigma, because they're afraid to speak about it because people would sort of flag them up as someone who's got low faith.
But do you feel as a community, Bangladeshi community I'm talking about, because I can't say about everybody else, do you think that we understood the depression itself? Do you think we understood that problem at all?
No, I don't think we have. From my own personal experience, I don't think I have, because I've spoken it in my last 2 khutbahs. Although I'm not a specialist in mental health, but I do raise the issues which I think are affecting our community. So when I spoke about it in my last 2 Jumu'ahs, in the khutbah, I spoke about in the sermon, and the response that I got was, you know what, at last someone's spoken about this. That was so informative. We didn't know about this. We didn't know it was an issue. Because what's happening, of course, from an Islamic perspective, we believe that we've been created to worship Allah. Now, if our physical state and our mental state is not correct, then we won't be able to fulfill that objective. So that's why it's very important for, especially for imams and leaders, to speak about this issue. Because if a person is not haven't got a really stable mind or stable mental state, it will affect them fulfilling the rights of the family, which is a part of Islam. So I think, yes, we do really need to educate our communities about, you know, this is what it is, these are the symptoms, and this is how we can...
Okay, I'm going to come to you. If I could ask Suzanne again. I'm from Bangladesh myself, actually. In those countries, and you've grown up in Pakistan, do we have a similar effect in those countries?
I think across the border, In Pakistan and in African countries, they have their own particular taboos. I think mental health generally is something that many cultures and communities are not exactly comfortable with owning up to.
Do you think it's increasing? Because if you're from village, if you're from in those areas, actually we don't have access to a lot of things.
Yeah.
So for them, everything is no. Everything is no. Do you think they're lacking in education in those areas? Does it make? Because
Well,
most of us are from the villages
yeah.
and coming into country.
Well, we can only speak about the fact that we are living here in Britain today, and that in this country there is access to medical care. There is access to treatment. So there's a range of treatments that we can easily access. And you're right, it is about education. It's people being comfortable about accessing these services. So in a way, yes, it is about education, and it is about raising awareness. As Journal just said, it is the fact that we acknowledge these things.
Of course.
And when leaders, community leaders, religious leaders acknowledge the fact that this is a real problem, then it opens it out and people can come forward and access the help that's available.
Fantastic. Okay, if I could ask Maulana Shab, you can be off. We've only got 30 seconds you to say your last word before you go. What would you say to our viewers?
জাযাকাল্লাহু খায়ের। আমি মনে করি যে প্রতি বছর 10 অক্টোবর বিশ্ব মানসিক স্বাস্থ্য দিবস আসে, কিন্তু আমরা অনেকে এটার খবর রাখি না। অন্ততপক্ষে যদি এই সময়টাকে সামনে রেখে পুরো পৃথিবীর মধ্যে যারা রিলিজিয়াস লিডারগণ আছেন, ইমামগণ নিজ নিজ মসজিদে, চার্চের যারা পরিচালনা করেন, হিন্দু ধর্মাবলম্বীরা তাদের নিজ নিজ মন্দিরে, প্রত্যেক ধর্মগুরুরা তারা যদি তাদের নিজ নিজ অবস্থানে থেকে মানসিক স্বাস্থ্য যারা মানসিকভাবে যারা পর্যদস্ত রয়েছেন তাদেরকে সচেতন করার জন্য একটা বুকলেট করেন, একটা লিফলেট করেন, অন্ততপক্ষে আপনার বক্তব্যের মধ্যে মানুষদেরকে কথাগুলো তুলে ধরেন। একসাথে সমস্ত পৃথিবীতে মিলিয়ন পিপলের একসাথে একটি আওয়াজ বের হবে যে মানসিক রোগীদেরকে আমরা অবহেলা না করে তাদেরকে আমরা সুস্থ করে তুলতে চাই। যেটা যদি আমরা হাতে নেই তাহলে মনে হয় এটা অনেকাংশে কমে আসবে।
Thank you. Jazakumullah khair for your time. Dear brothers and sisters, we're just going to go for a small break, inshallah. I'll see you after the break. Stay with us. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome back again. We are talking about health and youth. And we were talking about, actually, before the break, we were about depression and anxiety and why they're going through these kind of the symptoms. Now we have two guests with us, and I'm really honored to have them here, actually. So we have a mental health nurse, retired, Raj Chhetri. Welcome to our show, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And also we have a psychologist, Patrick Volta. I hope I said it right.
That is correct.
If you could introduce yourself to our viewers.
Yes, my name is Patrick Volta, and I am a chief executive of a mental health charity which is based in Surrey. It's called Mary Frances Trust, and we provide a variety of different services for people with mental health issues. But we try to focus, rather than on mental illness, we try to focus on emotional health and well-being.
So when you say a psychologist, so you work on people, you see them, their activities and movement. How do you judge them, or not judge them? How do you assess them?
Well, we usually the journey that people start with us is when they already feel that there may be some issues and they come to us directly. A good thing is that we don't necessarily need referrals, so people don't need to go to their GP, they don't need to go to a psychiatrist. They can self-refer, they can come to us and they can say, you know, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling depressed, I have got I feel overstressed, I have got eating disorders, any mental health issues, people can come to us, and then we would try to work with them initially on a one-to-one basis to think about how we can support them and how we can help them overcome their mental health problem.
Fantastic. If I could go to Sir Raj, if I could call you Sir Raj, I feel,
thank you.
Honored.
Okay.
You are already been through these kind of issues, like you're a mental health nurse, you're retired. What kind of difficulty did you face in your work time?
Well, the thing about mental health nurses, our role is to observe and report and look at, and prevention is another way of dealing with situation. As a mental health nurse, people are referred by their GP, and the GP decide whether to refer to mental health service. And we deal with a lot of issues. But for younger people, for the youth we are talking about here, we got another service in Surrey, and I think it's in the whole country, called CAMS, Child and Adolescents Mental Health Service, where we do refer people to psychiatrists if there is a bigger issue, psychologists, as the gentleman said just now, and these CAMS will also have social worker, nurses, support worker, occupational therapists, psychological therapists. We have got play therapists, creative art therapists, and primary mental health link person, and specialist substance misuse, which is another subject that youth, or anybody else for that, but the youth are prone to because of the peer pressure. And you hear about drug.
What do you see the differences when you started? I mean, then and now. Do you see the differences? Is it going uphill or downhill? How do you see it?
The impression I have is there are much more awareness now about issues. I don't call it problem. I call it issues, because the whole idea of issue is to tackle it. And the most important bit is early intervention, which means, as the gentleman said, people go and seek help. Or if the person is unaware of it or feels shy away from it, then it will be the people nearer to them, the family or the friends, who can recommend them and take them, because the early intervention is always better for person to get better. The well-being, the way I see it, is mind, body and spirit. We are three-dimensional, and whichever part of the world you come from, this thing is universal. The mind, the body act together one way or the other, and the spirit here is not alcohol I'm talking about. It is about person's belief, whether it's a religion or a set of principles that helps the person to get on every day in life. We all have certain principles we adhere for survival. So these are very important, and the role of mental health is important. Psychologists, and now we have, as the gentleman said, don't always have to be referred to psychiatrists or to mental health service. They can go to GP. GP can, in Surrey, to IAP, or you said that they can go directly to them at the Mary Frances Trust. So there are things there, but making them aware of the availability of this service is very important. The community awareness. The big thing you talk about is what has changed. Stigma.
You think it's changed?
Stigma hasn't changed a lot,
Okay.
but in our South Asian society, I'm a Nepalese, so we have got that pressure, not just the peer pressure as we hear in England from our youth, their friends and all that, but pressure from parents, the expectation to do better. That has an impact on the person. That can cause anxiety, that can cause sleeplessness, that can cause all sorts of things that would be a symptomatic of something brewing up. So stigma is there, but because it is being talked about more often on the wider world, and we have to take it to our communities, whichever communities we have, to make them understand that help is there. Don't shy away, don't hide it, because the word shame seems to tag on.
Thank you. I'm going to give you guys a bit of a time to rest. I'm just going to go to Patrick. If I could ask you, there are a lot of young people. We had an imam before you at the break. Actually, he said that there are a lot of self-harm. People are taking this, and people are doing funny things around.
Yes.
Why? What can we do? How do we see that? How do you read their mind? They're going to do.
Read their mind. First of all, I think it is important to mention that self-harm very often comes as an effect of feeling really the pain inside that people feel, they try to deal with it by actually harming themselves, so bringing the pain from inside to the outside. That's the main reason for self-harm, and that's why
does it
happens.
really help? I don't know, because I haven't seen it or I haven't done it.
At least you can feel the physical pain. That sort of makes more sense, and that's how people deal with everything that happens inside. It's really tricky to sort of control that. The pain inside is so strong that people just take it out on themselves. And it can be cutting, it can be burning, those sort of things.
What was the worst case for you?
Well, we work with people who self-harm on quite a regular basis, and it can be quite distressing when you have a look at somebody who gets to the point that they cut their faces, for example. Very distressing, can be very distressing. And the difficulty is that with those sort of issues, there isn't really a medication that you can take. Very often we look at mental health and we think, okay, there is medication for it. Well, there are certain types of emotional or mental health issues that there isn't a medication for. We need to try to think about things like therapy. But the best is something that Raj mentioned before, is the early intervention. The sooner we can start recognizing that there is a problem, and the sooner we start working on it, the sooner we start looking for some support, the bigger chances are we will be able to overcome those issues.
If I could go to you, because you're a young person here, then actually, how do we get young people involved, or how do we go to them regarding these kind of issues and get them to educate?
I mean, I think, of course, the best place to start are institutions. When I'm talking about schools, we're talking about places where they're going, if it's youth clubs, if it's mosques. So anywhere where they have access to, if we can raise awareness there, I think that's the best place to start first. And also, I think is trying to create an environment, even within the youth, where they can actually go and help other people. So sometimes I think a lot of people who sort of suffer from mental health illnesses, whether if they feel isolated, they're sometimes very introverted people, they're very shy people, they're the people who are probably not the most popular. So if we can also try to teach other young people as well, to try and recognize those people, that, you know what, bring them in your popular group. They might be quite reserved, but bring them in so they don't feel isolated. And of course, that's a very from a religious perspective as well. We try to look out for those who are most vulnerable. So if we can try and create, first of all, raise awareness within our institutions, but also create an environment where we're teaching our young children, our youth, that if you see someone that is not, getting bullied, or they're quite isolated, go and help them. Go and help them, go and see. I think that's the best way to sort of try and find out like who's suffering from mental health illnesses. I think.
Do you know anyone doing this kind of stuff in the schools?
I mean, I personally don't know anyone who's self-harming, but I have had, of course, I've had many complaints from parents about their children.
Talking about institution, they are actually trying to teach a group of people, like youth club, you said, or the mosque, or the churches, whatever they are. Do you know anyone doing that?
On top of my head, not now, but of course our mosque, we're trying to, well, I've delivered a sermon that we are trying to link with Mary Frances Trust as well as SMEF to try and organise sort of activities so they can come and actually learn about those things.
Okay. If I could just jump to you, do you know anyone doing that in the churches, in the mosque, or in the centres, like they're talking about this kind of issues? Because these are real issues.
As a community development worker and as someone who works with women, I know that this is a problem for parents. It is something that's quite common because the pressures on children are so much. There's also this self-image that children crave for, and part of self-harming is, as Patrick said, is not being completely comfortable with yourself, feeling low, having very low self-esteem. And to get to that point of distress, where you're physically doing something to yourself,
I'm just shocking. I mean, how painful within yourself, and it's nothing to that. He's doing it himself, that person or whoever.
Yes.
And I suppose you can take that a step further, self-harm to suicide. And suicide is very high. The rate of young men, you know, for young men, I think between the ages of 22 to 26, the suicide rate is very high, isn't it?
The suicide rate is growing, really.
Yeah.
The highest, unfortunately, it is within the group of adult men.
Adult men, yeah.
That's because I heard you mentioned before, I think you asked a question whether mental health issues are more common amongst men or women, and it's difficult to say. However, the fact is men very often don't talk about mental health issues, and therefore the suicide rates amongst men is really high, because there isn't they feel like they shouldn't talk about emotions. They see it as weakness. There is lots of pressure on men, and if we are looking at a situation specifically, for example, losing a job, that is a disaster. And if you feel like you don't have anyone you can talk to, you don't have anyone you can go to, it almost feels like the life is ended for you anyway.
I'm quite surprised in UK we think like that people are not speaking about it, people are not talking about it. Imagine around the other countries they're different, you know, like they're not used to it. But here we are so open about everything. And we know we are hiding away and killing ourselves. Oh my God. What's the number you think? I mean, age group, sorry. You did say young adults.
I think the highest amongst men is around 45, 48. I think that's very high. That's very high.
That's my age, man. I'm still alive.
What you said about you know, we can talk about, we are open. Yes, but also in the current world, we are very isolated.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't have as much community feel as you used to.
Yeah, that is very true.
Yeah.
And isolation is one of the main reasons why people find it very difficult to deal with their mental health.
That is very, very true.
I mean, of course, I also work as a chaplain in a hospital. So what I've seen in terms of patients who are suffering from cancer, who also suffer from sort of mental health illnesses as well, is that there are some patients who are able to sort of deal with it to a certain extent when they've got a good family support. But because we've become so individualistic, so those patients who don't have a lot of family coming in, and that's where my position comes in, where I have to come and speak to them, that has a major effect on those people's well-being. And then of course we have to have meetings with other doctors and nurses where they're saying that this is a specific patient who's suffering from cancer, where you have to go and speak to them because they have no one else that they can speak to.
Yes.
So it is, I mean, it's absolutely right, the idea of having that community, you know, whether it's your own family, because some person might be in a relationship but they're still feeling very lonely. And that's one of the biggest, I think, issues, because you would expect that these people are not feeling lonely because they're in a marriage, they've got their parents, but it's when you're feeling lonely within a relationship that's where we need to that's one of the sort of biggest issues.
Because the age group is, can you imagine, he's got kids, 40-year-old, he's got kids, families, everything else. But expectation on him is so much that he can't deal with it anymore. You know, we are too much expecting from people.
And I think, again, it's about what I was speaking up before about societal expectations. And I think when we're talking about mental health in terms of men, it becomes a question of their masculinity. In terms of someone that's suffering from mental health, that no, you know, I'm not going to disclose that because people will think that I'm weak. Now, coming from a religious perspective, when I speak about these issues in the mosque, then our best reference point is when you talk about the Prophet Muhammad, because sallallahu alaihi wasallam, maybe Allah's peace be upon him. Sometimes we're as men, we're afraid, you know, we're not allowed to cry, you know. But you'll see that the Prophet Muhammad, when his son passed away, he cried. You know, his wife Khadija, who was his wife, after she passed away, many years later, he comes across one of her necklaces, which she gave as a gift to her daughter Zainab. And he comes across this necklace and it suddenly reminds him of her, and he begins to cry. Now, our main reference point for Muslims is the Prophet Muhammad, who we say that is the best in all his character. Now, if he's crying, then why should we have any shame of actually crying and having that thing? Yeah.
After the break, we've got 2 minutes for a break. Before I go, I want to ask Raj something. Raj, what we heard here, does it make you feel sad that people are going in that line? And because you've been working in that a long time, you're retired now. How do you see it?
Yeah, it is a sad thing when men can't express, as you say, but I have also worked in female ward. I was charge nurse and ward manager, so I've seen there as well. Part of it is cultural thing that happens not just men from other part of the world, but from here as well. But I think the most important bit is the early life is quite important. You know, we were talking about the youth, and I suddenly realized what I had put it here is there are things that you can have it without medication. First, you can have the non-medication and intervention like self-help, CBT, the gentleman psychologist would know, problem solving, and then you can have a self-supporting group where people can talk, and you can start on a younger people like in your mosque or in church, well-being group, or even in community center, inviting young people. There are youth center, and somebody may be able to tell so and so doesn't look well, and you know, it after a while it becomes obvious. So it is a sad thing, but it is there, and it is individual thing. Part of it mental health issues, part of it is contributed by our own society's expectation.
Okay, I want to come to you after the break. Dear brothers and sisters, stay with us. We're going to go for a small break. You can call us and ask your any kind of difficulties you're facing, or you want to ask our expert here. So they will give you direct answers and some solution, hopefully. And stay with us, and I'll see you after the break. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Dear viewers, welcome back. We were talking about health and youth, so you could call us and join us as well and can share your stories if you're facing any kind of difficulties and how to get help. Inshallah, we have expertise here. They can give you some ideas too and signpost you somewhere. So if I could go back to Raj again. Raj, you've got a long list. I want you to share us some of the stuff we haven't spoken about yet. You think is really important.
Well, here it is about tackling the causes. There are a lot of issues that builds up into the situation where it affects mental health. And there are things that one can go into. Somebody just now mentioned yoga. I recommend mild exercise. Walking is good. There are other simple things like healthy eating. There is thing like relationship. It's a big thing, relationship between husband and wife, relations between parents and children. We're talking about youth group, you know, the risk of isolation. Then we're talking about self-help with the CBT without the drug, without having to go to psychiatrists. The GP can signpost you to psychologists, IF and all that. You can have psychotherapy, you can have counseling, right? You can have problem-solving therapy. I am picking it all from the Royal College of Psychiatry, by the way. Bereavement counseling, because
it's almost like you're reading a list of...
yeah, I mean, this is real stuff.
Of course.
You know, this is real stuff, whatever age group, but it applies to youth group. Bereaving, you think only the adult will bereave, but you'll be surprised. Somebody who is young fellow must have been quite attached to the grandfather or uncle or auntie, and their death, nobody sees it, but inside they're grieving it, and it may come out in sleeplessness, in panic attack, in anxiety, you know. Then there is the interpersonal and psychodynamic therapies, the whole lot of issues. What we need to do is signposting. You know, the favorite word I hear everywhere is signposting, but young people don't know about it, especially in our communities. We need to do it. I have heard about in certain church they had a well-being group. They met, you know, certain once a week or something like that, once a month, and there are ladies group. And of course, there are community centers which you can hire and bring people to talk about it. And the thing with the ethnic minority community is, you'll be surprised, when I first came into mental health, there were more ethnic minority psychiatrists than anybody else. You know, I mean, I've come to a ladies' meeting in Woking, mothers, Muslim ladies, where we had 2 lady psychiatrists from Surrey and Borders. You know, my mental health thing, I was retired, and I talk about my depression. I, a grown-up man, when my sister died, after 6 months, I was in pieces, couldn't sleep, anxious, couldn't eat, couldn't see the sunrise. You know, I mean, there it is. And when it happens to younger people, you know, this is their formative years. We really need to look around, look at the family dynamic, look at the friends, look at the pressure. The pressure is finance. The pressure is through your mobile phone, believe it or not, through the Facebook. You know, one young girl, I think, killed herself because she was tormented, bullying. So young people, sometimes we forget them. We take it for granted, they're young, they don't have that issue. But my goodness, there are issues.
They got plenty issues.
Yeah, and you know, self-harm in some cases are ultimate exposition of what's going on in their mind.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing it. If I could ask Susan, as a female, you do face a lot of female clients as well. A lot of our mothers are probably watching. We're talking a lot of young people, but there are a lot of mothers out there watching. They probably don't know what to do. And what would the solution be for them?
Well, I think the solution for every mother is to be conscious and aware. Just like you look after the physical well-being of your child, you see that they eat properly. You have to have an understanding of mental health well-being as well. And if you can give your child emotional stability, then that, I think, if a child is emotionally stable and able to deal with all the pressures that affect them, then I think the chances are that that child will be a confident adult. That
imagine that person is affected already.
Yeah.
He's staying away. He doesn't want to listen to any of this kind of stuff he wants to do. He's on his own. He's doing his own stuff, funny stuff maybe, I don't know. But she is probably trying, or he is, the father probably trying their best to go to them. But the distance has already been made, so what do we do now in the middle?
Well, one has to try very hard, I think. One has to look at what's available with the GPs, with the school. One has to look at everything that is available for that child to get better. And whether it's simple
maybe a
things.
door shut, but there are other doors around.
Yeah.
I think it can be quite difficult, because obviously that's why we need to remember to build those relationships from very early stages. And if we are sometimes looking at let's say teenagers who don't have those relationships with their parents, then it really is very difficult to support them, because they may decide, actually, I don't want it anymore. And we need to also remember that if we are looking at young people who are becoming young adults, the young adults decide for themselves, and sometimes working with parents as well, we sometimes see how difficult it is for parents to understand that the young person decides for themselves, and unless they agree to receive the help, nothing is going to change. They need to be able to accept the support and accept the help.
There are a lot of young people actually, like food, they're having a problem with the food, you know, food disorder. How do we deal with that? Or what are the symptoms then, if you could start?
Well, there are two main eating disorders. One is bulimia nervosa and the other one is anorexia nervosa. Both of them obviously manifest themselves with difficulties with food and self-image. That is, again, the thing is with eating disorders is that a lot of pressure, and people are not able to cope with it. They don't feel like they're good enough, they don't feel like they're worth, and they try to control their emotions through food. There are groups that are available. there is support that is available, and people don't always need to even go to a psychiatrist. Sometimes a psychiatrist feels a bit heavy, because that really feels like, okay, I do have a proper mental illness. There are other organizations, there are charities. For young people, a couple that are really useful, Young Minds.
Young Minds, good.
Very, very, very professional. For parents, lots of information can be found online, Royal College of Psychiatry. Lots of information also about young people. Another organization is Mind, obviously, which is the big national charity. So there are ways that people can go to sort of search for support, get some more information.
So if the parents sees the kids or the children are affected, so if they go to Minds or those big charities, so they directly can get help from them. Is that what you're saying?
They can, yes, because there are not only there is a lot of support for people directly affected by mental health issues, but also for carers of those people.
Thank you. If I could come to you, young man, again. Like you said before we went over the break, that if the Prophet has cried and he showed his emotion and stuff like that, I get I get frustrated when I see a lot of parents actually between them, they're arguing, shouting, and something. That affects kids.
Yeah, of course.
And that stays forever, man, ever in your head.
Yeah,
that could lead them towards that, you know, depression and the other anxiety. I have no evidence, I've never seen anything like in Prophet himself had this kind of argument. He never touched a woman, he never beat anyone. How come as the Muslims, we have this problem? There's the violence at home.
Of course.
Domestic violence at home.
And of course, that's a whole topic where again it's a stigma where in our communities it's not being fully discussed. But of course, I mean, it's more that we have a lack of Islamic education rather than the fact that we have education. That's why these things are happening. But yeah, of course, it does affect. And I think one of the questions you asked before about those children who have become unresponsive to their parents, how do we sort of approach them? I think one of the good things is the way that peers cause pressure, they can also relieve that pressure as well. So if you know that they've got friends who can speak to them, or they know there are certain people of their age or their background that can understand them, I think the best thing is to approach them. Because sometimes, yeah, of course, an adult coming to you, whether it's a teacher, whether it's the imam, whether it's the parents, they're not going to be responsive. But if you know someone that's close to them, someone of their age, someone that speaks their language, then I think the best thing is actually try and go and speak to them and see if they can actually help. Because, and another thing I would say that I think parents need to know what's also going around in the world. I mean, there was a series that was on, I think it was on Netflix. I remember that Imam was watching Netflix. But on Netflix, it was a program called 13 Reasons Why. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It was quite, everyone was watching it. And it's about a young girl who commits suicide. And she records herself stating 13 reasons why she committed suicide. And of course, it's for entertainment. However, sometimes when someone who's not in the correct mental state, if they watch that, then they would come to think of it as, okay, the only way out is if I commit suicide. Because the kind of, although it was raising a lot of issues, it was also raising the fact that every single one of those people who were involved in her leading to committing suicide, they were all regretting that, oh no, we were part of it. So sometimes a young person might think, you know, the only reason I can get back to all my bullies or all the people that are affecting me is by committing suicide. So I think sometimes what we need to know is like, what are our children watching? You know, what are they doing on the internet? So this is, I think this is quite really important. Another issue, I know we're talking about solutions, but very recently I had about 2-3 parents who were complaining that they were coming back, their children were coming back, and they were saying that, you know, are Muslims bad people? And of course, we know that there's been a rise of Islamophobia, there's been a rise of Islamophobic bullying, and when the parent asked the child what's been happening, why are you asking that question, he replied that they're discussing Islamophobia and they're discussing about the Manchester attacks, talking about the London attacks. Now, I'm not sure what's what was discussed within those classes. But I think parents also need to know that how are our schools, how our place of education dealing with especially specific Islamophobic, racist and hate crime, how are they dealing with those issues, how are they teaching the rest of the children of how to sort of interpret these things that are always coming on the news. So I think that's very important. And lastly, I would say for our masajid, for our mosque, I mean, dedicate a sermon to it, dedicate 2-3 sermons to these issues. I don't have expertise in mental health, but I work with other organizations who can provide that help, who can tell people that this is what mental health is, this is what you need to do, and this is what we need to do. We need to actually, work with the wider community. And again, it's not just about helping Muslim people, it's about helping every single person within our community. Yeah.
Thank you, that's brilliant. As a community young man, I mean, you speak in their language as well, like it's very important to speak in their own languages too. I liked it when you said pick up their friends. Sometimes they can help you a lot than individually. We don't have much time. I think we have 5 more minutes before we go off.
I think what he picked out and what I picked out from you is education from the community, in this case from the masjid. And I think the other thing is through education you'll get awareness, and I think the anxiety thing on the current situation of what's happening around UK, that put pressure on young Muslim children. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You're looking around, and I think it is very important for the community to reassure, to come together. This is one thing I like about walking is we try to help each other. We have people of faith together. We meet together, look at certain issues.
Do you walk every day?
I'm retired, but I go to the meetings when they hold one. Okay. And obviously I'm involved with the Community Advice Center, Community Advice Forum as we call it now, in Woking, where we have 2 days a week where people come for advice. So young lady Nadia and I also do outreach and trying to reach the community, and obviously I also sometimes get involved with the Nepalese, young Nepalese people and the older adult all the time, a bit like I'm looking at things from the psychiatric nurse point of view, all ears and eyes, trying to see where are they going, what are the issues. And the other thing you mustn't forget now, you said no, not much time, the big dirty word is drug. And I'm sorry, it's happening.
No, it's true.
And it is affecting the mental health of younger people. There is no doubt about it.
If we're looking for a community solution, like people are affected because we are actually becoming a lonely nation, like you're on your own, do your own stuff. And if he doesn't achieve it, then I'm gone. I'm not worth it. So what kind of solution we can find as a community? What can we do, you think?
We are looking at reaching out to people and trying to make sure that people understand they need to start looking after their mental health. And sometimes looking after your mental health doesn't have to be very difficult. We can put together, so this is something that we do at my charity. We put together a yoga class which brings people together. They start doing some exercises. Exercises actually do support your mental health, but they also, because it is a group, it also builds relationships between people. Sometimes it is about providing the right opportunities for people. We do things like walking group. Simple. People go for a walk as a group. They can have a chat. Yes, they can have a chat. They can actually talk, and they start opening up. It provides people with opportunity to share things that are difficult for them.
What would you find a solution for as a community? Because this is more like a community link, isn't it?
It is. I think it's really important for the place of the community center, an opportunity for people to get together, to have events where people can come together, people can talk about this, so that it's not just a personal issue, it's a community issue. So we create this safe space for communities to articulate what it is to be living in the world today. What are the problems? And there are solutions that are there for everyone. And if you look at it in that way, as a whole community facing these issues, then the problem perhaps is not as difficult to crack as it is if you look at it on an individual basis.
Okay, can I have your last word to our viewers? 30 seconds. What would you say to them?
Well, I would say to all our viewers who are watching from in Surrey that we are going to have a youth mental health event in partnership with the Mary Frances Trust and also the Epsom Mosque, and I hope that you will all attend. It's on World Mental Health Day, which is in that week, so the 10th of October.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much. If I could go to you just for a minute, what would you say to our young people who are watching, especially young people, are affected?
There's help there. That's all I would like to say to him, that don't feel that you're isolated. Speak to whoever you trust, speak to your friends, speak to the Imam. If you want to come and contact me, I'm the Imam of Epsom and You'll Mosque, feel free to come and contact me. But don't ever feel isolated. There is always help there. Your parents care about you, your family care about you, and that's what I would actually say.
Thank you very much. Your 1 minute, if you could tell our viewers your last word.
Most important thing for young people or anybody for that matter is don't bottle it up. Okay, it's not champagne. You need to talk. You need to bring it out. Talk to a person whom you feel safe to talk, and the bottom line is seek help, because early intervention is the gateway to getting better. And mental health, physical health are interconnected. And if you believe in a faith, yes, of course, praying helps, as it helped, because I went through the depression myself, so I can speak on depression. Mine was the death of my sister. So, personal point of view, I am here today speaking out, you can do it as well. And Walking Back to Happiness was a song in 1960s, but that is the first step towards getting better with the physical health.
If I could give you 2 minutes, just to tell our viewers.
2 minutes.
We haven't spoken to about angers actually, but anyway, next time maybe.
Well,
Our viewers.
There's lots of issues that we haven't touched on, and we could talk about it for ages. My message would be, most important, recognize that you do have mental health. We all do, as much as we have physical health, and sometimes we need appropriate support. If we break a leg, we need to go to hospital, we need to have appropriate treatment, and we need to have sometimes rehabilitation after that. With mental health, there is no difference, even though sometimes it's not actually visible. It's still there, and we need to look after it.
Thank you very much. It was fantastic having you guys here. Dear viewers, I'm sure you guys learned lots of things. I have actually. And if we helped, I mean, that's worth it. I mean, giving a shout. So I'm asking you, please don't ever think there's not help there. Like the young Imam said, there's helps are always there. It's just like we don't want to hide away from the truth. That's the reality. Most of us are going to go through this. A lot of people are actually in danger because they don't know what to do. So I'm asking parents, please, please look after your kids and look into those signs that if they're going through the difficulties or not. If you see those signs, if you can't deal with it, make sure you go and find someone who can help. If we said anything wrong for our parents, please do forgive us. We're just trying to help each other and learn from you too. And I'll hope to see you next week, inshallah. Make dua for us and you look after yourself. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.